This is the only place in the world that's taking industrial CO2 in scale-size reactors and growing and harvesting algae on a daily basis. We are reinventing modern farming at this plant in Shenandoah, Iowa.
On the fertile soil of southwest Iowa, a Midwestern ethanol company has harnessed what it calls the next generation of renewable fuel. These towering vials of churning green liquid are known as photobioreactors. Inside the tubes rest some of the first algae biomass generated from an ethanol plant in the entire world, and they're producing it now at commercial scale.
We're not going to go any bigger than this. When we drew the artist rendering 2 years ago, we thought this is what they're going to look like, and this is actually what they look like. So what you see today in this plant is at scale. It's going to be at scale on horizontal, it'll be at scale on vertical reactors, and it's now ready for replication on a farm.
The scientific and potential business growth has attracted the attention of the global energy community and the U.S. government.
Sunlight would have a real tough time getting very far. I mean, so what you have to do is you have to put a lot of bubbles in it to keep everything moving so algae inside gets the same percentage of chance to get light exposure.
You've obviously got significant investment in this operation, but you've got extraordinary innovation.
USDA Secretary Tom Vilsack has toured numerous renewable energy projects across the country, but he says he's never witnessed an initiative quite like this algae biomass operation in southwest Iowa.
You hear about things like this on paper. You read about them. You read about theory. This is actually happening, and you can actually see how these cylinders are going to be both horizontal and vertically stretched out over several acres of land, harvested on a daily basis.
Green Plains Renewable Energy lured Vilsack to Shenandoah, Iowa for the grand opening of its commercial-scale bioreactors, an opportunity embraced by the Ag Department chief.
This is actually far more, with due respect to this company, it's far more than just the opportunity of a lifetime to take CO2 from an ethanol production facility and use it to produce algae and have algae produce byproducts that we use in our homes and in our businesses. This is about revitalizing the rural economy, creating phenomenal opportunity for young people who want to live and raise their families here.
Despite the jubilation of attendees at the Green Plains grand opening, some critics of biofuels are not convinced. Some scientists have labeled corn-based ethanol as inefficient, and next-generation biofuels, like this, as unattainable scientific concepts. The domestic renewable fuels sector strongly disagrees.
I think they've come up with a creative solution here on lowering the carbon emissions, helping the environment, and producing a usable product. How quickly it becomes replicable and commercialized, no one knows, but you got to consider the ethanol industry wasn't commercially viable 30 years ago.
When Green Plains first unveiled their patented algal biofuel processes in 2009, their reactors were smaller, but the production process was the same. Waste heat, wastewater, and CO2 from the conventional ethanol plant are diverted and pumped into photobioreactors. The original reactors installed in 2009 relied heavily on LED lighting, which was supplemented with natural light piped in via fiber optic cable.
There we go.
18 months later, the idea has come full circle. A new structure now houses the company's largest bioreactors, which are directly exposed to full sunlight. But everything isn't necessarily blue sky and sunshine for Green Plains, and some question whether the company's patented grower-harvester technology has outpaced the potential market for biomass.
What we have today is we have the ability to commercially grow and harvest algae that is going to be used to make things like biocrude, animal feed, and food. So now we can actually commercially grow algae, get us the volume that we need to sell to the end-use markets. They're not fully developed yet, so we're developing them ourselves.
Becker says production has not only made Green Plains a carbon-neutral ethanol plant, it also enabled the company to create a negative carbon footprint for the Shenandoah, Iowa facility. The company will break ground in the coming days on an outdoor farm, expected to further commercialize the one-of-a-kind, multi-million-dollar project.
And this is really an incredible project for not just the state of Iowa, but for the United States.
For Market to Market, I'm Andrew Bott.